I'm Lesley Gibson. I'm a writer looking to find a vibrant, creative, diverse community to call home. Home is that basic need for shelter, safety and support, and it's what we all have in common, isn't it? But a sense of belonging may always remain elusive. In these first 6 podcasts, I'll be talking to Val McDermott, the award-winning crime writer, folk indie band the Tin Pigeons, and Keely Mills, the Chubby Mermaid, as well as poets, wandering minstrels, artists and sculptors from across the UK who will be deciding whether they're creative because of or despite their hometown. Where will I be tempted to lay down my hat, I wonder?
Make me believe in all that I don't know.
So welcome to episode 3 of the Way Home Project, and this week it's the Wandering Minstrels episode. A bit later on you'll hear from the young indie folk band the Tin Pigeons. It's their track Home that you will hear at the beginning and the end of each episode, and also in the breaks. They're very talented young men, they're very local to where I live. They're very popular on the festival scene and they have to travel a lot for work, as you will hear. They're also multi-talented because Tom has done our artwork as well. So we'll hear from them a bit later on. But for now, it's Amanda Lowe, who I met in a budget hotel in West Yorkshire. Well, I didn't just come across her. I mean, that's where I interviewed her because that's where I was staying at the time. And she just happened to be wandering through. And as you'll hear, she's made very radical decision about her life and she is loving the results of that. So here is the wonderful Amanda telling us what's happening for her.
I've been walking from Land's End in Cornwall, heading east and then heading north with the intention of ending up in John O'Groats. But on the way, rather than just a walk, I'm making like a musical snapshot of the country as I pass and meeting up with musicians, mainly and very often folk musicians, and getting them to play me their favourite tune or something that's pertinent to the area or something that they play a lot. Not just musicians but singers as well. It's not a straight walk and it's not a straight line either. I'm zipping about vaguely north. My youngest daughter, I've got 4 children, she left to go to university in September and I had the house to myself for the first time in 29 years, 30 years. And I thought I'd quite like to do something interesting. About 5 years ago, I'd got my little fund. I'd started just putting a little bit of money in and I was going to go around the world. My main instrument's a hammer dulcimer.
Yes, I saw that from your blog.
And every now and then I go to these, they have, every 2 years, they have big international gatherings from all over the world. So I know dulcimer players from all over the world. And I was just really going to go on holiday and use them as stopping off points because they all say, oh, come and, if you're ever in my country, come and see me. And then I just thought, I haven't got the energy to go. Planes and airports and all the money. And then the Arts Council did this artist development thing. I can't remember what they called the funding.
I think it is called the Artist Development Fund.
Where you go and you put in for some money and you've got to have a project, but it's got to be something that you wouldn't normally do. And it's a bit pushing at the edges of your comfort zone. And I've been trying to think of something to do for that for a couple of rounds and never got anything in. But I just thought, I love walking, I love music, and I'd love to actually just walk from one end of the country to the other and maybe take a little travel fiddle with me or something and meet and play with musicians along the way. So as I was putting the funding application in, I'm thinking, even if I don't get the money, I'm going to do it. I can do it on the cheap. Yeah. I didn't get the funding, so I thought, right, I'm doing it. I rented a house. I told the landlord, right, I'm going in 6 weeks. So that gave me 6 weeks to get rid of all my stuff, sell or give me furniture away. Everything I own, apart from my instruments, is in 20 boxes.
So how does it feel to be completely without property?
It does feel like burning your bridges, which I kind of had to do.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'd have been home by now.
I see what you're saying.
Because in the first week was great because it's exciting.
Yeah.
And and then the second week, that's when it hits home that you've got a long way to go. You've got to keep at it, and you've got to make the contacts, and you've got to find places to stay, and you do the walking and everything. Yeah. But you think, I can't go home because I have not got anywhere to go to.
Yeah.
When I'm in Scotland, I'm going to start planning the rest of my life, but I told as many people as possible that I was doing it, just so that I wouldn't back out. Yeah. Because you've got to save face if you. Yeah. If lots of people know, then you kind of got to do it. Yeah. And it's great actually once you get over the thing of and that sort of slight panic attacks. Yeah. And you think, actually, this is wonderful because I don't need to concern myself with stuff that doesn't bother me. Yeah, absolutely. I don't care about the news. I don't watch the telly. I don't read the newspapers. I don't listen to the radio. So I'm vaguely aware of stuff that's going on. But it's such a relief not to have it in your face all the time. Actually, I completely get that. I am sort of slightly jealous. It's like you're doing what I'm doing, but taking it one stage further. So because this podcast that we're doing is sort of focusing on home, are you thinking that you might you are definitely returning home, or are you just going to wait and see how things go? Well, the thing is, that concept of home, that you tend to think it's a house and a place. Yes. Bricks and mortar. Yes. And somewhere that your bed is and your kitchen is. And it's not. Because that's not what I'm going to, because I haven't got anything to return to. No. I've got my 20 boxes. As far as I'm concerned, they can stop where they are at the moment, because I have absolutely no need of any of it. That's not home, is it? 20 boxes? That's just like a storage facility. It's very liberating. Yeah. And it also keeps you totally focused on the task in hand. You're not going to get anybody ringing up going, the plumbing's gone to pot and you need this fixing and that fixing. I don't. No. So are you saying, though, what I'm trying to get to is, when you ever stop somewhere, have you any idea where that stopping is going to be? It will probably be East Yorkshire-ish, but I don't know. Oh, I like that. I like that you don't know. Because people have said, what are you going to do when you get back? I said, I don't know. I don't know if I'm coming back. That's what I was getting to. Yeah, how wonderful. Yeah, I have no preconceived ideas of A, what I'm going to do with this mad journey that I'm on, and B, what I'm going to do when I finish the mad journey. Because then, I don't know, if you think like that, then it's a different journey. Because I know when I've been travelling along and walking, and you do a lot of thinking at the beginning. I'm at the beginning still. Yeah, so. And then as you carry on and you get into the rhythm of, like, the physical rhythm of just walking and going and struggling up hills, and there's a lot of physical thing involved with it, and your mind just goes on to a different level, and you don't actively think. You just let it all roll around in your mind, and that's quite amazing when you get into that weird state. I'd like that. Are you a busy thinker? Is your mind usually busy? I'm a list writer, because I can't hold that. I always have millions of things going on in my mind. So if I write a list, I haven't written a list all the time I've been here, which has been great. But I have to write lists because I have that many things to be thinking about. Okay. So I can imagine that this is just wonderfully cleansing for you, actually. I think that your journey is going to be important as an overview of Britain, because not only are you moving through a geographical landscape, but you're moving through people. Does Britain feel very small? Yes and no. One of my thought processes, because you have these sort of things that you expand on as you walk in that you don't get on day-to-day life because telly's on or something. So I had a few hours with this thought of, if I was an alien, and like Morecambe Minions when he's down to observe the world, and I was told to come down onto this particular walk and write a report back on the people of Britain that you will see walking, then it's full of people who smile and say hello to each other, and they walk dogs, and they're fit, and they're primarily retired age or fit and young on bikes. It's very white and middle class. Yeah, I'm still finding white and middle class, to be honest. Everybody I've met has been white and middle class, or There's certainly no ethnic people at all that I've met as part of my journey, which did strike me as strange. Also back on my alien thing, and like the nature of the people, because they're really friendly and very happy. And because if you walk in a city, you get people who are angry and they'll tub thump and they've got gripes about everything, and they'll talk politics and they'll talk about the housing and they'll talk about the price of this and that and the other. They don't. You know, when you walk and you meet people, they don't do that. And it's a different strata of society, if you like, that's hidden.
So, have you learned anything about yourself?
Yeah, I'm more resourceful and resilient than I make out I am, I think. Yeah. But when you got people around, you can be lazy, can't you? And you let them do it. But when you've got to do it yourself, and you just go, right, I'm going to do it. I either do it or I don't. Yeah. It's A or B. That's it. Yeah.
Well, I think I always felt from a very young age that when I got to the age that I am now, I used to really look forward to it. I used to think that'll be the start of me coming into my own. And actually, I really feel like it is at this age.
I feel stronger and healthier now than I did 10 years ago. And I always thought, like, once you get over 50, you start to slow down a bit.
Yeah.
But I'm not going mad, but I think it's because I'm doing things for me and I haven't got a tribe of children to provide for, and you think, I can actually focus all this energy on me.
I've got space to do it.
Rather than giving all the energy out all the time and being permanently tired.
Couldn't you just feel how much he was enjoying being a long way from those 20 boxes and the responsibilities of being a homeowner? I found that quite joyous. So we move on now to a young man's bedroom near Rutland Water. That is the glamour of podcasting. The extraordinarily talented indie duo the Tin Pigeons were local heroes in Stamford and Rutland before coming to the attention of the nation when they were championed by BBC Introducing in 2016 with their single Sparks. Here at TWHP, their marvellous theme tune Home is an earworm that plays us in, out and guides us towards the breaks. The band consists of Fraser Norton and Tom Quemby, and incidentally, Tom also produced the artwork for the Way Home project. Lyricist and lead vocalist Fraser starts us off.
Grows cold.
We met at school in Stamford, and we've been in a band together for probably 9 years now, quite a while.
Nearly 9, I think.
Nearly 9, probably 9 in August, but we've been recording and touring pretty much all that time, even through school, and then university finished, and it became a full-time thing for the two of us recently, in probably the last 18 months.
I've heard that you were BBC Introducing Single of the Week, were you? Or was it Band of the Week?
Or what was it? I think it's Single of the Week. We're really lucky to get that. That was really the sort of turning point, because before then we'd just been sort of like just having fun and messing around, and then we got that, and it was sort of like a wake-up call to maybe we should do things more seriously, which is difficult for me and Fraser.
Yeah, we can't do anything seriously. But that meant we got a bunch of Radio 1 play and massive exposure for quite a while, and we ended up, from the back of that, touring nationally pretty intensely for a year or so. Yeah,
got a big November tour lined up. Hopefully some support slots as well, which would be nice.
I mean, as a business, thinking about it that way, we make enough to allow ourselves to keep doing it, to keep touring as hard as we're touring and to keep recording and making tunes. But it's doing things, if we were playing in Glasgow and Edinburgh where we have a great fan base and we can do shows there comfortably, but we were thinking on this November run we wanted to go up to the Highlands and do Inverness and Aviemore and even up to Orkney, which would be pretty sick. But we've not got a fan base up there. Well, probably not many, more than 5 people.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So financially, that's not worth it.
It's not really
even
viable.
Though it would
we'd
grow
love to do it, and hope one day I'm sure we'll be able to take our music around to the hills.
Yeah.
So one thing I particularly wanted to ask was that when you're touring, you've got quite a peripatetic lifestyle, so you're not in the same place, I would imagine, more than 1 or 2 nights in a row.
Yeah.
How do you cope with that? And do you ever arrive somewhere and just want to stay, basically?
It does happen. It's a 50-50 between it being really beautiful and then also you feeling really tired on tour. I think it's the places that you visit earlier on, you're like, wow, let's just stop now and stay. Like a tour we did in November, that was the first time I've ever been to Scotland. And
First time you'd ever been to Scotland?
ever,
Really?
yeah. First, apart from Edinburgh, but that was by train. And does it count? Maybe.
Well, I think it's still Scotland.
Yeah.
I think so, but I mean, like,
Wow.
I mean, like seeing Scotland, like truly, like going
Yeah.
through the Highlands
Yeah.
and like seeing the coast, and it was just so beautiful there. And it kind of, you just wanted to stay longer, just to really absorb it all. And
Because normally we don't get time to stay around in these cities. We spend a lot of time in these big cities for one day or an afternoon. We arrive, and normally we have to cram quite a lot into the day. We'll go and do, like, find the venue, which normally takes us a while because we get lost, although it's normally not us driving, but we're just distracting whoever's driving. And then we'll load into the venue and sound check, and then normally we've got interviews to do, so we do that, and then we go and get a bite to eat, and then it's showtime. So, and then we go to the next hotel. So a lot of the time we don't get to soak up these cities at all.
it's a lot of work, actually, yeah. And you just want to, that's why you just want to stay around and enjoy the places a lot of the time.
But we stayed actually on that tour. We had 4 days in Scotland, and 2 of the days we had shows, and the rest we had 2 days off. So we stayed in Leith, and that was really beautiful, actually.
Right on the water there.
Yeah, and it became like a little holiday. Well, for 2 days, but it was really nice because we got to do stuff, the touristy bits and bobs that you don't get to do if you in the back of a bus.
Yeah.
Like just like jump into the next hotel, to the next venue in the van. So, but we got to do that, which was really nice.
Is it difficult travelling with people? Do you feel like you're taking your family with you? You know, if you've got, or just
Touring is a bit of a bubble like that. It is.
Yeah.
I mean, the longest we've probably been on the road for away from home is probably 3 weeks, probably.
right.
But because you end up doing so much in your days, it seems like you're away for so long, and we don't really sleep, and you don't really get to eat, and there isn't a lot of downtime. So it's just the next gig after the next interview and the next show, and then.
Yeah.
But I personally love touring. I think for both of us, we love touring with more people in the van as possible.
Right.
When we're there with our mates, and all our crew and all our tour managers and sound engineers are all our friends.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I would imagine that otherwise you'd get quite homesick, I would think.
Yeah.
If you were moving and not
Yeah.
seeing anywhere,
Yeah.
particularly.
It's really weird because you get really sick of being stuck here, but then when you go touring, you're so excited seeing all these new places, but then it does bring a sort of new life when you come back home. You're just like, it's
Definitely.
nice that we're not traveling and I can just relax.
The nature of what we do and what we're doing and making music is quite isolating, I
Yeah.
think, because you
really
you get out what you put in, and it is really unsociable. We're most of the, like these kind of like high days and holidays, we're always on the road,
Yeah.
and our friends from school are graduated and they're living in these cities and they've got jobs, and Tom and I are sort of just grinding away on this one project, and that is tough sometimes. But we're in it together.
Yeah.
And
well, at least you have each
yeah,
other.
and I mean, sociably around here now, I mean, I probably agree. It is quiet. It's really, there aren't a lot of young people here, and there isn't a lot of creativity or even just opportunities to be creative. I mean, we haven't played around home for quite a while.
Yeah.
But when we started out, we were playing in pubs and weddings just to do anything really, just to
Yeah.
play. We've got no venues here really. There's one amazing venue in Stamford, which we love.
Mamaliz.
No,
Mamaliz
Mamaliz
is,
is,
Really good,
yeah.
The guy who runs it's great.
And he's a dear friend, yeah. But other than that, there aren't really many opportunities to do music.
Well, it was one. I would argue there's not much opportunity to do much artist.
No, there's
You
not
know,
really.
much in the way
no.
of art,
really.
or creativity of any sort round here. However, you know, when you start doing this sort of project, you do find people. But I have heard in the course of doing this that actually that our area has the least engagement in the arts of any area
I'm
in
not surprised. Yeah.
in the UK. Don't quote me on, nobody sue me,
that
but
doesn't surprise
that's what
me
I've heard.
either.
Yeah. So I feel personally that I need a creative community, which is why I'm doing this and why I've started this. So it sounds like you almost feel the same, that a creative community would be helpful.
Definitely think we do,
It is kind of creatively exhausting, like living here, because there just isn't a lot going on. Like there's like hardly any exhibitions or anything to go. Actually, I say that, but there's a lot of great art shops and galleries around here.
We do have a lot
Shops,
of that stuff.
yes, there's a little bit of money, isn't there? Yeah.
A little, like there are some great places, but then as like that sort of community, I feel like there isn't
Yeah.
much. as you get in like bigger cities where there's lots of people going about and you can sort of find your creative sort of clicks and stuff. Here, there isn't really that opportunity. It just seems
because there are people around here that make music that we know really well and that we really support and support us, and those guys are doing their thing at home really, really well. But because there aren't really a lot of venues, you end up just playing in the same rooms to the same people. Week in, week out. So, I mean, we do get out and about quite a lot of the nature of the beast of what we're doing. Tom's right. When we do end up coming home, you have this like blank canvas, because that's what it is we have around here, really, that environment. So you have that environment to be creative, and there's no rush hour and there's no pressure in the sense that we can just lock ourselves away and write. But I think the fact that there's not an artistic community, you get very...
It goes stale.
You get stale, and you get frustrated quickly.
Yeah.
Because there's not. We have each other to bounce ideas off, and we have our team as a band. But other kind of people doing a similar thing, there isn't that. So there isn't that sort of communication, I don't think.
Yeah, but not the sense of just I have got you. It's a frustration, but not.
But I think around here as well helps our identity as a band. Because this is where we're from, and I think we have, sonically, maybe the kind of countryside vibes do come out a bit in our music.
Yeah.
They're kind of natural sounding, and they're not kind of overproduced and charty.
I think, because you always sing about sort of scratching on walls and drowning and things, and I think that's definitely got like a sense of being stuck
frustration.
In a place
Definitely.
and wanting to escape.
Yeah.
It's like a weird kind of relationship. Like you're comfortable here, but you want to see other people as well. I've never wanted to live here. When I got older, like when I was at Stanford, I loved it, but I just kind of wanted to move away and live somewhere else. I think that's something I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
But then it's that same sort of thing that I am so grateful to be here and I love it here. But then also at the same time, like, is it perfect for me, or is it just me settling?
Wasn't it interesting that in the course of that interview, they came to the realisation that the countryside they are surrounded by informs the style of their music. And it may be useful and helpful to know that they're also keen foragers, fermenters, preservers, and produce their own mini cookbook for fans. So they are rooted in their environment in more ways than one. And I, for one, find it really helpful to link the music to the foraging, which is never a phrase I thought I'd say. So stick around after the credits to enjoy their theme tune in its entirety before joining us again next week, when we'll be aiming our podcast searchlight at Wakefield. The Way Home Project is written and presented by me, Lesley Gibson. The editor was Claire Crofton. And music and project artwork by the Tin Pigeons. Get off now and plug to the pod website for more insights, comments and transcripts, along with photos and bits of other fluff and stuff. Remember to describe and subscribe, and invite your friends along so you can talk about me afterwards. More next week.
Grows cold. Push me and pull me all the way from home. Make me believe in